Well, greetings. This is Pastor Carlin Hours here at First Lutheran. This is our Common Sense Theology, the Thinking Christian, and we are so glad that you join us with these. I want to talk to you today about something that seems to be missing in a lot of folks today, and I know in my own life was missing for years, and I still fail at it, but it's something that I'm truly working on, trying to grow in, and trying to get better on, and that's called emotional intelligence. I am trying not to let things upset me. I am trying to be the peacemaker. I am trying to do those things. Even when people say nasty things, when they do nasty things, I try to de-escalate. Now, years ago, I didn't do that, and I was not good at de-escalation. I'm getting better. I'm growing. I still have a long ways to go, but it's something we all should do. One of the books I've read recently is called The Emotional Intelligence of Jesus. And there's a great story, and there's several great stories about emotional intelligence, of self-awareness. And one of these is a true story. My son was in Iraq, told me that these things actually did happen, of this very young lieutenant, fresh off his commissioning as a butter bar lieutenant, so he's very young, and he is the platoon leader of a U.S. Army infantry platoon in Iraq. And one of the things they would do is they would go into a town and they would seek the imam, who is kind of the preacher, teacher of that town or that area, very influential person in that town. And they would go to talk with them, and hey, you know, all we want to do, we don't want to fight, all we want to do is get the electric going, we want to get the water running, we want to get the trash picked up. That's all we want to do here. That's all we're trying to do, just to get things going and moving so that we can help the people here in this town. And generally, if you could get the imam on your side, you could do the vast majority of that. There's always going to be some tension somewhere or another. But this group goes in, and if you've ever seen infantry soldiers in the U.S. Army, they are loaded for bear. I kid you not, they are truly loaded for bear. One soldier's firepower is just unbelievable. And they're going in, generally 30 to 40 people in a platoon. This platoon leader runs into a group, and they think of Iraqis. He runs into this group of Iraqis, and they think he is there, and those troops are there to kill the imam, because they see the firepower, they see, you know, this what they have, and they think they're there to kill the imam. Well, naturally, more people come, and they began to get very hostile toward these troops. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of people surrounding these people and getting very hostile because they are under the impression that they are there to kill the imam. Well, they love their imam. They want to help him. So they are getting ready. This could either escalate or de-escalate very quickly. This could have been a true international incident. This young man had to think, and he had to think very quickly, and he had to do something very quickly. If his troops fire, they had the firepower to kill hundreds, if not thousands, of innocent Iraqis who were just misunderstanding what was going on, which you talk about a true international incident, which would have just upped the ante and the high intentions of that situation even further than they were. None to consider even just the loss of life that was there. It probably would have added even more loss of life, unfortunately. So this young man thinks, and there's also the possibility that his own troops could be harmed and killed, which that's another element to this altogether. We don't want U.S. soldiers hurt and killed during this as well. So he thinks, and he says, he knows that his men will listen to him. And he says, men, I know this may sound crazy, but here is my first order. I want everybody to point your weapons to the ground. And they do. And that kind of de-escalates things a little bit. The hostilities start to drop just a little, because that's less threatening when you drop your weapon to the ground. Then he says, my second command to each of you is to get on a knee, take a knee. And they do, with their weapons lowered. And that de-escalates the situation even further. And he says, I have one final command. And I know it sounds crazy. I want everybody to smile. And they do, and it totally de-escalates the situation. What could have gone from a horrible situation either way, death, destruction either way, to they were actually able to then explain what was going on to the people and they were happily greeted by these people and willing to take them to their imam so then they could do what they had set out to do in the first place, which was to de-escalate everything in the first place. Sometimes we have to think, what is the best way to de-escalate? We need to be emotionally intelligent. We cannot react in a bad way. We have to react in a proper and a right way. And most of the time, following what Jesus says, and I shouldn't say most of the time, I'll say all the time, following what Jesus says, will lead to a very good and a positive outcome if we will just follow him. Pray today, God will bless and keep you this day and always. Amen.